Oh, baby.
This is Cris Justino, known as Cyborg, just days before fights like this.
You watch Cris fight, it's violent, very violent. These other girls that fight, these are girls that fight. Cris is a woman.
Cyborg is the 145-pound world champion of the all-women mixed martial arts organization, Invicta. Former UFC champion Tito Ortiz is one of her coaches.
She is very dangerous. She's the most dangerous woman fighter in the world.
I would like people to respect me like a world champ, because I am world champ, but people look like don't know I am.
And that, she says, is because she isn't a champion in what's considered the major leagues of MMA, the Ultimate Fighting Championship, or UFC. It's not another fighter, though, who denies her that belt. It's her weight.
Calma, Cris, you need to breathe. You need to breathe. Yeah.
Cyborg, who weighs close to 175 pounds, normally fights at 145. But the UFC has said in the past that there aren't enough strong female contenders that size to have a 145 weight class. Until recently, its biggest class for women was 135.
I cannot do this in my body all the time. I don't know, maybe something really bad is gonna happen with me.
Still, she was last allowed to compete in the UFC at 140 pounds in September, but not for a title. How much did you cut before that fight?
The week I was there, cut weights 26 pounds.
26 pounds in what kind of time frame?
Like 2 days.
How do you drop 26 pounds in 2 days?
In the beginning, impossible. I was freaking out. You know, you have to dehydrate.
I thought this was the part you were looking forward to, baby.
I hate this.
This is kind of the dirty little secret that's going on in front of our eyes.
Let's take a look at the eye now.
Dr. Anthony Alessi is a neurosurgeon who for more than 20 years has worked with the Connecticut State Athletic Commission monitoring combat sports.
Weight cutting is trying to wring as much water out of your system so you can get onto the scale at a low weight.
Medical experts say any dehydration-based weight cut over 5% is dangerous. This means a fighter Cyborg's size should cut no more than 8 pounds of water weight.
Tito said, when I cry, I lose water.
Weight issues have long been a problem for Cyborg. In 2011, she was caught using anabolic steroids.
I didn't want mistake in my career about doping. You know, I used something for lose my weight.
Now she says she does what most fighters do, dehydrates, by water loading, drinking gallons of water to send the kidneys into overdrive and flush sodium from the body. Or doing cardio wearing heavy plastic suits in hot rooms. Or sitting in a sauna to sweat off the pounds.
We're just trying to heat you up.
Too hot.
No.
The bath for me, the worst case. Because burning really hot.
Baby, breathe, baby. Baby, it's 105 degrees.
I go inside the bath and I pray there and I cry.
We see fighters go into kidney failure as a result of their weight cut. When you drain the body of fluid, you're also decreasing the production of cerebrospinal fluid, leaving the fighter vulnerable to concussion, hemorrhage, tearing of the brain.
Where would you place weight cutting on your list of concerns when it comes to MMA?
Number one. It's the club shows, it's the medium shows, it's Bellator, it's Invicta, it's UFC, it's everybody. They're all cutting.
Andy Foster regulates combat sports as the executive director of the California State Athletic Commission.
People are getting as low as they can, and then they balloon back up the next day. They never were that weight, only for like 1 minute on a scale.
You gotta poke her face a little bit.
Okay, baby, but I feel sick.
I know, but everyone's about to see this.
meu Deus.
Everyone's about to see it. Put your shoulders back, head up.
Promoters like the UFC, along with regulators, have taken measures in the past year to address extreme weight cutting. Hours have been added to the time between weigh-in and the fight to better allow for rehydration. And fighters are now required to check in at the beginning of fight week within 8% of their target weight.
Good luck tomorrow, you too.
In November, Cyborg told Outside the Lines that UFC President Dana White had never offered her a fight at 145 pounds.
He said, if you want to keep your job, your next fight will be on 40.
So why does UFC want you at 140, a class that doesn't exist anywhere else?
I really don't know. I think they don't want to open my division. And then if you then try make all the time at 140, 140, 140, maybe one day I can make 135.
I can tell you unequivocally, we're not going to regulate Cris Cyborg at 135. We're just not. We're not doing it.
Cyborg says several days after she sat down with OTL for this story, the UFC offered her a fight at 145 pounds. A title fight in February that would open up a new female division. She turned down the offer. Cyborg says her body needs more time to recover from her last weight cut, which landed her in the hospital.
The doctor tried to take out my blood, and my blood cannot go out. Too thick, they cannot go.
Because of dehydration?
Dehydration. I was dehydrated.
The UFC declined to participate in this story, but just days ago announced a 145-pound title fight that won't feature Cyborg. She tweeted, "Just 2 months ago, there was no girls at 145 to fight. Now they have a girl who's 0-2 fighting for the belt just to disrespect me." Dana White told ESPN.com, "This is a business. I had 2 girls who wanted to fight for the 145-pound title. This is the pros. If you play for the Patriots, you don't sit around and say, 'I don't feel like playing this weekend.'" Cyborg wants to fight again. She wants to fight for a title in the cage, in the UFC, and she says she'll be ready in March. Until then... What does your shirt say? Can I see?
Yeah, Cris Cyborg against the world.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah. I do my best, and I have to fight outside the cage all the time. Not just fight in the cage. This is the worst part. Because this is the real fight. Not just for me, I think for everyone.